Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Handlebar Walrus. Welcome in. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to talk to you guys about AI today because, to be honest with you, there's a lot of fear around it. There's a lot of information about it right now that's out there, and I wanted to kind of ease some of that, but also to encourage, especially if anyone is making content, to use it because it's definitely simplified a lot of complicated things with my own brain. And I do have a script here of things that I've been able to do so far with AI. I think I've had it for now 6 days. I'm not exactly sure. But within that time, it has been able to do a lot, including if you haven't looked at the banner and you haven't looked at the cover art of my channel, those are all AI generated. Um, and it was kind of funny with the conversations I was having when I was generating those. It started asking me, "Am I trying to build a brand?" And I said, "Sure, let's go for it." And that kind of snowballed everything that's going on right now. I've done more content in a week because of AI than I have in the past. Like I probably I don't know how many years ago I used to do a vlog once a week, and I used to complain with how much work it was because I couldn't think. And that's kind of the biggest thing that was slowing me down is thinking things through, and that's the first thing that AI fixes. Um, when you have an idea, when you have structure, it'll ask you a bunch of questions, and then it'll give you direction. And it's given me a lot of direction. Like the biggest way it's given me direction is it's taking away the content to an extent and trying to understand me as a human being. Like when I presented the handlebar walrus theme and idea and all that stuff, it literally told me it seems pretty goofy and silly. Is that an extension of who you are? And I said that's exactly who I am. I'm a very silly person, but I'm also a very easygoing person. So if you do end up going to the channel and look at the banner, you'll see a walrus, you'll see a shark, and you'll see a penguin. The penguin was what AI gave me, but they're all around a campfire. The the walrus is in a has a top hat, obviously it's silliness, and is in a hockey outfit. I didn't ask it to do that, but I was okay with it because we had talked about doing retro games, and one of my favorite retro games is NHL Hits. It's encompassing all the conversations we've had into the brand, and it's trying to push that even further. And I'm going to give you some more examples here of other things, and this is where I have to look at the script. Um, some of the other stuff it has done, it has clarified my channel's direction, which we already talked about, and we built brand identity, what I've told you about. We're working on creating an intro, an outro, and a tagline. I'm not too big on taglines, and I've told it that, but the theme of intros and outros and everything is an extension of myself, which was very interesting because the three things I do care about when I do provide things to other people, and I strive to provide things to other people, is relax, laugh, and keep moving forward. And that was built off of one of the conversations I had had when I was hurting, because everyone goes through ups and downs, and I went through a really low point where I felt like I had nothing to provide anyone. And when I got to that point, I felt like nothing, absolutely nothing. When I started to crawl out of that, providing things to other people meant so much more to me. And the biggest thing that the conversations I had with AI on that is that should be a part of my content. That should be a part of who I am because it took me 5 years to get there. And 5 years is a long time. And it took a lot of little steps every single day to get to that point. And that was something that AI referenced. They like I told the time span and everything, and AI told me, that might be how long it's going to take for your content to really take full shape. It's 5 years, but little incremental steps every day is huge for that. The next thing that that it did was define the pillars, which is comfort, consistency, connection, reflection, empathy, and small steps. Pretty much everything we've already talked about because I'm trying to provide something to the audience. I'm trying to empathize with them and take small steps of understanding that even in times of failure and hurt, we can still improve. The content that we had talked about. Right now I'm in the middle of TFT. I am climbing gold, and when that series is done, I'm going to be replacing those with retro games. The two that we had talked about was Star Fox Adventures, which I know is not for everybody, and then NHL Hitz 2003, which was one of the best NHL games I've ever played. It's super silly, and I'm excited to play it on the channel. I'm excited to just do crazy things with it. And then I'm playing Coromon right now. And then the last piece of content was Saturday's Motivations, which is what we're doing right now. But Coromon, to add to that, is going on right now. That is the closest I'll ever get to playing the old Pokemon games, like the Reds and Blues, the Yellow or whatever they are. I didn't start playing Pokemon until it came out on the Switch, but a lot of people love it. My nephew was the one who got me into it, and now I'm excited to do a little retro journey on that with Coromon. The next thing was planning motivational topics. We went through a whole bunch together, but it all stems around growth, small steps, and providing hope to the audience. It keeps this idea of what I'm giving to the audience rather than trying to talk at. It's more of talking with, which is where the idea of the campfire came along on the banner, because I'm a very inviting person. I like to be involved with people. I like to invite them in. I like to have deeper conversations with people. And I'm hoping that after today we can continue to do that. But the next point that it had, and this was the biggest one, was helping me understand my thoughts. When I felt stuck, when I felt confused, when I didn't understand what I was going to do next for content, for anything, it pulled me back and said, don't think about the content, think about yourself. Who are you? What are you trying to be? And then it lined out all the traits I told you before, and AI pretty much told me, build from that. Build from the idea of being inviting, being kind, being goofy, being me, and building a brand around that. It doesn't matter if people hate it or like it. I mean, there's going to be someone, at least one person, or maybe 10 people that really do enjoy it and invest in it. And that's the goal. And every time I have a conversation with AI on it, it reminds me of that. It reminds me of those pillars, those goals, and that mentality. And I will tell you that beyond the content, the conversations we've had were just about my goals in life, the different ideas I have, and it all correlates onto the one simplistic idea of myself, and it simplifies how complicated I've made it and makes it easier to think through it. So if you're going to build content, it can help give you direction. If you tap into educational goals, if you tap into physical goals, if you tap into health related goals, it will help you build some kind of structure. Obviously, you have to take the steps, like I'm taking the steps right now, and it's going to drive you to a direction that hopefully you can agree with. And one warning I will say about AI is that regardless of what you're saying and what you're thinking, it'll always agree with you. You have to be careful with that a little bit, because some ideas are not the best ideas. I will say, though, I was intrigued by the fact that the different ideas that I had and the kind of person I was being, it had data to back it up on some of the subjects, such as how rare of a person I am in comparison to so many others, because most people are not inviting. They're thinking about what they want, and they'll do whatever it takes to get to that point, which makes sense. We're in a world that's driven by competition, but it will see you where you're at, and it'll agree with you 100% of the time, but you have to kind of sift through and figure out, okay, is this something that I can take, or is this something that it's just agreeing with me? It doesn't happen too often, and it will clarify situations, and it'll give you information, direction, and all that. But that's the only problem I've had with it so far. But in the future, you're going to see some really cool things from me as far as AI is concerned. My next big step is taking some of the artwork that it's built for me, and I'm starting to brand more. I'm not going to have merch anytime soon, but we're going to be building something big, and I'm doing more content than I've ever done. And if you're planning on doing content, I would encourage you to give AI a try, see where it takes you. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Go out and enjoy life and be better every day. Have a good one.